Hello everyone, Joseph Dunphy here, and this is your weekly Grass10 grazing management update on the dairy edge. PastureBase figures for the week are: the average farm cover, 758 kilos of dry matter per hectare. The cover per livestock unit is 217 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Growth was 44 kilos of dry matter per hectare over the last 7 days, and demand was 50 kilos of dry matter per hectare. The pre-grazing yield is now sitting at 1450 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and dairy farmers are offering 14 kilos of grass at the minute and 4 kilos of meal in the parlour. The dry matter percentages for the week are 14.5% recorded in Athenry, County Galway, 16.5% recorded in Oak Park, County Carroll, and 15.5% recorded in Moore Park, County Cork. The predicted grass growth, rainfall and soil temperatures for the coming 7 days. Growth rates for the next 7 days will be stubborn to rise in the mid-50s for most of the country as lower air and soil temperatures continue to dominate. However, an improvement is expected towards the weekend. Predicted growths will be 10 to 20% back on the 5-year averages. Vital that you take note of this when planning your grazing week. Soil temperatures are being held back at around 9 to 10 degrees on most farms. Rainfall is once again a challenge, with considerable rain yesterday, Wednesday, and again on towards the weekend with a total 30 to 40 millimetres expected for some parts of the east and south, and 20 to 30 millimetres for the west and the north. The Grass10 tips for the week. The cooler air temperatures over the last 7 days has restricted grass growth to 44 kilos of dry matter per hectare on Irish dairy farms. So there's been a nice drop in average farm cover, which was 882 kilos of dry matter per hectare last week, to 758 kilos of dry matter per hectare this week. This is a result of grass growth being 20% back on most farms compared to the 5-year averages from PastureBase, and also farmers removing maybe some of the remaining heavy first rotation paddocks on their farm. Most farmers will have a high demand at the minute, as a proportion of the farm is closed up for first cut silage. So it's vital to get back into a routine of weekly grass walks and entering grass covers on PastureBase Ireland to help you to react to deficits or surpluses in grass growth. Match growth and demand on your farm if possible at the minute, and use targeted supplementation to keep average farm cover above 550 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Aim for a cover per livestock unit of 180 to 220 kilos of dry matter per livestock unit. Lack of chemical nitrogen is still affecting growth on some farms throughout the country. It is vital to get back on track and follow animals after grazing with chemical fertiliser or dilute slurry. If slurry has been applied earlier in the spring, apply an N plus sulphur product at a rate of 25 kilos of N per hectare if you're up to date on nitrogen, or apply 35 kilos of N per hectare if an application has been missed during March or April. If paddocks have not received slurry, it's vital to apply an NPK plus S compound fertiliser if you have a P allowance. If no P allowance, apply NK plus S fertiliser. Dilute slurry at a rate of 1,500 to 2,000 gallons per acre is working well on some farms for paddocks after grazing. April, May and June are the months that give us the best response to chemical nitrogen. With a late spring, many farmers who are intending on reseeding or oversowing clover into their swards have had to postpone. Some farmers might have got some ground sprayed off over the last couple of weeks in advance of some improving weather. If weather improves in the next week or 10 days, farmers may look at their options to improve the swards on their farm. Have a quick look at our Grass10 clover checklist, which will guide you in getting your procedures correct for both reseeding and oversowing for 2024. Our featured farmer this week is 2023 Sustainable Grassland Farmer of the Year Nutrient Management category winner Michael Carroll from County Limerick, who's milking 141 cows. Michael's average farm cover at the minute is 767 kilos of dry matter per hectare. He has a large cover per livestock unit at the minute at 292 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Growth is 40 kilos of dry matter per hectare, and the demand is 39 kilos of dry matter per hectare. Although cover per livestock unit is 292 kilos of dry matter per hectare, Michael is grazing 1,400 kilos of dry matter per hectare at the minute, and he has a lot of covers at the one level in the middle of his wedge. Cows are milking 23.5 litres, the fat is 4.48, and protein percentage is 3.5. It's been quite a difficult spring for Michael, and the rain again over the weekend has just left ground conditions tender, but they're grazing away reasonably at the minute. He got very little nitrogen out early on, so there's about 47 kilos of N per hectare spread on the farm of what's been most recent, but 1 bag per acre of a 38 plus 7 protected urea plus sulphur to get back on track 3 weeks ago. Cows are getting 4 kilos of meal in the parlour at the minute, and over the next couple of weeks, Michael is hoping to get some reseeding completed on 7 acres on his milking platform, and this will be reseeded with a multi-species grass mix. The key things that Michael is focusing on this week on his farm is to avoid any damage as he's moving through the second rotation with the wet weather, and also to keep an eye on the cover per livestock unit figure that the pre-grazing yield is not rising much further than 14 to 1500 kilos of dry matter per hectare, so he will be taking surpluses as they arise and as the weather improves. If you would like to hear more from the Grass10 team, subscribe to the weekly Grass10 newsletter, which is available on the Grass10 page on the Teagasc public website, and the link to the newsletter is also available in the description of this podcast. This has been your Grass10 update, and I'll talk to you all next week.